Oh,
Oh my God. Okay. Can you hear me now? Because you went silent.
yes, I can hear you now. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. You went silent, so I didn't hear anything. All I heard was just and then you
Oh,
started moving. Can you say? Can you briefly say that again for me, please? Sorry. Oh,
okay. So my name's Graham Coath, and I make TV and radio for A, myself, and B, anybody else that will bother to watch it or listen to it out there on the internet. And what a beautiful thing it is that these days we can just make the TV and the radio that we want. And then what we do is you don't need TV times anymore. You can put the listings on social media, and then people can find when you're doing stuff, and then they go and find it. It's a beautiful thing.
You do a lot of polls every single day because a lot of your content is really inspiring and interesting. Why do you do polls every day?
Well, because polls are conversation starters.
Yeah.
That's what they are. And if you look at the way that I do my polls, I don't just do the poll. I then put context behind it within the post that goes with the poll, and in that I ask more questions. So there's questions on top of questions on top of questions, because otherwise it's just a semantic differential scale, and I'm not interested in just that. What I'm interested in is human communication, and what I'm particularly interested in when it comes to polls is not what answers people give. Not interested in that. I'm interested in why they give those answers.
Oh, I see. You have your podcast is really your podcast. You're on everything basically, and
I'm all over the place.
yeah, I'm just like, where do we begin? But Graham, with your podcasting, because your polls are related to the things that you're doing, the things that are happening in your life, why get into podcasting? I know this is like a random question. Well, it's not really random. It's just going in an order that it's going in. But the polls that you do, the content that you create, you're all over the place. But yet you're so focused with your podcasting, because every time I'm on LinkedIn, for example, or I'm on Spotify, you know, your show is there. It's always there. You interview the most incredible people. Why podcast? Why podcast? Why repurpose? Why any of it?
Why any of it?
Why any of it?
Well, again, it's because of my fascination with communication. All right. So I did a degree in communications.
Oh, okay.
At university. That's what I went to study, where I did various aspects of human communication, from linguistics to sociology to psychology.
Yes.
All of those different elements that make up communication. So I'm fascinated by why we communicate in the way that we do. Communication breakdown,
yes,
to quote a Led Zeppelin song, and everything in between. And so the reason I make conversational content is because people have stories which need to be told.
yes,
Right. But not only that, I put myself in there asking the questions that I ask, because I feel like half the time what you get on podcasts or TV or radio are interviews,
yes,
right, with a marketing agenda.
yes, yes,
And I'm not interested in that,
yeah,
because what those do is they show a side of people which is constructed. Right. Now, what I say to people is, if you're going to come and do an interview, if you're going to come and do a conversation
yes,
with me, because I don't do interviews, I do conversations. If you're going to do a conversation with me,
yes,
be prepared to be grilled.
yeah,
If you can't actually give your truths,
yes,
then this is not the place for you. Right. And that should scare people, because there are a lot of people in this world at the moment who make up the truths, who make up the stories. And we as listeners and observers of content need to be really aware of the fact that every single day we are being shown what I call pseudo authenticity
Yeah.
by people.
Yes, yes. No, completely. I completely agree. When you come to choose and select a guest, because it's not really one thing I noticed, the style of well, it's not really interviews. It's more like, you have a chit chat. You're like you have rooms full of like guys who I think you had like 5 or 6 guys who were talking about the music that they enjoy. Then yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, you were
Well,
speaking
it can just
to,
be one artist. It can just be one person in the
yes,
room. If it's a whole band, then
yes.
it gets a bit warm and sweaty in there. But but yeah, it can be a whole band. And the dynamic of how you handle a conversation changes when you've got more people and then when you've got one person. Of course, it
Yeah,
does.
yes. No, the style of the way that you have your podcasts are very interesting to me because, I'm new to this. So I'm learning as much as I can from different podcasters. And your podcast is centered around music and it's centered around people. It's authenticity, it's economy, it's everything. Like you spoke about diversity, neuro
Divergence.
neurodivergence the other day. So it's a lot of very, very interesting things. And like you said, it's not like interview style thing. It's more like you're in my house, here's a cup of tea, let's
Yep.
talk. It's
Yeah.
nice.
And I'll get criticism from people for that,
Yes.
especially when, not so much if it's somebody that nobody's ever heard of,
Mm,
but when it's somebody that's famous or has, done millions of interviews before, I'll sometimes get that from certain crowds.
yeah.
But the prog world is a great example of that because I don't know what it is, but they're very kind of particular about they want to like put these people on a pedestal still and go, oh, you're interviewing this person, you should have been asking them this, you shouldn't be talking about yourself. And I'm like, do you know what, actually the person that I was talking to really enjoyed the conversation, and the reason that they really enjoyed it is because there are a million other interviews out there on social media where people have asked them the same question over and over again,
Yes, yes.
right? So I don't want to do that. I want to ask them. I wonder if the ultimate for me is when an artist starts to interview me, and sometimes they even say, is it all right if I ask you some questions? And that to me is the ultimate, because then I know that it's truly become a conversation, and what they're interested in is they're interested
Mm,
in finding out about me. I'm interested in finding out about them. And together, we're actually interested in
mm,
bridging a gap somewhere.
mm. It
And
is.
it makes it more interesting for the listener, I think, as well.
Yes, it is. For example, on the podcast, What the Fontaine, her conversations are very, very interesting because I've decided to take away the whole interview element of things and just have a chat with a friend, you know. And she's learning about podcasting and she's got her own, everyone has a style that they choose. And criticism, I think, is good because sometimes it's better when it comes from the guests themselves, oh, I wish you could have asked me this. And I've noticed a lot of people who I interview will say to me, can I send you the questions beforehand, because I'd like you to cover this area and this area. There's a variety of podcasts. Some podcasts are interview based, some podcasts are chit chat, some podcasts are there for educational purposes. Do you find when you have a guest, no, actually, no, let me ask you this. Who was your favorite guest and why? I'd like to ask, I've always wanted to ask you. I really I love my guests. Not all of them. I admire them, but there would be one that is more like I really like this person. I'm going to bring them back and invite them to my house and cook dinner for them, kind of thing.
I've had so many. It's really difficult for me to pinpoint one. You can probably tell that to some extent because there are people that I've interviewed more than once.
Yeah.
And I probably will say it will be one of those people. And the reason being is they've asked me to do another one with them.
Mm.
And that's the highest accolade you can have, I feel.
Yes.
Is if somebody comes back and says, I want to have another conversation with you because I enjoyed it so much the first time.
Yeah.
Um, Probably, I'm going to say somebody like Faye, who is an artist in America who she did the Voice NBC last season.
Hmm.
Depending upon when you're listening to this, folks. I mean, if you're listening to this on the 29th of September 2030 or something, this could be years ago.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this sort of stuff. But that's why you also have to put everything in context. But I enjoyed it because emotionally she let herself go
Mm.
in that conversation and cried. And not that I enjoy making people cry, but I enjoy the fact that she was vulnerable enough to allow herself to do that
Babe.
on air.
Yeah. It's
That was
nice.
great.
It's nice to be able to the way that you've just said it, when you can, allow your guest or your friend or the person you're having a conversation with to be open about things, because it's very difficult, I think, because the internet goes everywhere, right? Everyone can see it. Sometimes it's very hard to be 100% authentic, and all of the interviews that I've seen that you've done are very authentic. You make people feel comfortable. You say the most strangest things, and I'm like, are you allowed to say that? But like, you were talking about
What do I say that's strange?
the the thing about the doggies. Do you have dogs in your bed? you know that was
That's not strange.
is it not strange? you
Not really.
ask a woman that, and she's like, yes, I like a dog in my bed.
Hey, it's real life, isn't it? You
Yeah.
know, it's real life, and just coming on to
Yeah.
the thing that you mentioned a minute ago about some guests say that they want questions or they want structure beforehand. I'm going to say two things about that. One is, I think if they want to control the
Yes.
conversation that much, there's two things happening. One is they're either concerned that this is a piece of marketing. Let's
Yeah.
get back to that again, in which case, I have certain reservations about that, because if it just becomes a piece of marketing, then it's not an authentic conversation.
Yeah.
Secondly, I'd say that the majority of people that want that,
Mm.
it's because they have had no
Mm.
training and no expertise in being interviewed.
Yes. No, completely, completely.
And I want to say to everybody that's out there that's listening to your podcast or whatever, people think that they can just come onto a podcast as a guest,
Yeah.
right? In the same way that people think that they can just become a podcaster and
Yeah.
do podcasting. Folks, you've not had any training in doing it,
Yes.
right? And the majority of you will be rubbish at it,
Yeah.
right? And it will sound like two people. And if the worst case scenario is, it will sound like somebody asking questions and somebody answering those questions, and it's just awful. And I'd rather watch a tea towel dry.
On the line outside or on the
It's
radiator?
really, really important. Years and years and years ago, when I first started radio, because I worked in radio as well, and I interviewed Sir Cliff Richard.
Mhm.
Got myself a crying. Anyway, I interviewed Cliff Richard, and we got talking afterwards about this training. And he had been fortunate in his career to be given a lot of media training,
Mhm.
right? And he was saying that so many young artists these days, they get put in this situation, and it's even more so now. They get put in a situation where they have to be doing podcasts every day or interviews on a regular basis and radio and stuff like that, and they don't get told how to do it.
Yes.
They don't get they don't get told how to listen properly on a question. They don't get told how to feel out where that conversation should be going and ask intelligent questions back. They just, so either way, if you're thinking about doing it, folks, do spend some time talking to people that know that you believe do great conversations on air, whatever that medium is, about how to do this stuff better.
No, everything's a learning. Everything is a learning.
Yeah. That doesn't mean to say don't start, because ultimately sometimes people don't, they think about it. Yes, they think about it too much. They procrastinate and then they never get started. Start, but understand that you probably will suck to begin with. And
so
get better. Look at how you get better, right? It's important stuff. I mean, when I first started doing radio,
yes,
one of the things that producers used to say to me was look for the words that you say too much.
Yes.
Because so many people do it. I mean, you hear a lot of people there say, well, they'll either do what we call filler words, and whatever. But actually, filler words to me aren't a problem, because sometimes that's just a natural pause in thinking. But it's words like that really become annoying. It's words like just. When someone's like, gets into it and they go, well, just remember that, and the thing is, what you just need to do is, and you just, after half an hour of it, you go, you've said just 500 times. Right. So listening back to yourself is really, really important.
I used to say at the end of the day on my first podcast that I did, it was always at the end of the day, and it was terrible.
Not the end of the day, is it? It's the middle of the day.
Because I did journalism at university, right? So I did political sciences and journalism. So when I was working in Sudan, I worked for the UN, and a situation reporter, they report on things. So it is an interview. This is what needs to be done. I have to ask you particular questions because they're scripted and structured. And I thought, I was on a show a long time ago. This was before podcasts were really a thing. And it was like a radio station in Leicester. It was for the Afro-Caribbean community. But we used to interview the most weirdest people. Then I thought to myself, I'm teaching online. I thought, why not go back into podcast, like not podcasting, but why not become a podcaster? Because for me, I had met a lot of incredible people and I wanted to share their stories. So when I first originally started off, it was that. And as you know, I have 2 separate podcasts. One is the marketing side of things, because people do ask me, how do I start? Can I make money? Things like this. And then the other side of the podcasting, which is the one that you're on now, is more trying to get people to be their authentic self. So this is like a warm-up for people. This is a warm-up. When they come to me, if they give me the questions, I'll ask them the questions, but sometimes I tend to shift away from those questions, because like you said earlier on, if it's one-on-one, question, answer, there's no authenticity in it. Start from somewhere, you're learning at least, right? But podcasting is different to journalism. It's completely different, because this is real live content. This is not reporting to somebody to give them information about something, right?
I will quite often, if people say, can you send me a set of questions, I'll normally go back with the answer, can I, instead of that, can I give you a set of ideas about where the conversation could go?
Yes.
Right. And if they then rebuff that and say, can I have a set of questions? I'd normally then send them a set of questions, go, but you do realize I probably won't answer or ask any of those questions when we get to it. Right. Or I might start on one of those, but it could go anywhere.
I've had that before.
Because ultimately I'm going to use my intellect whilst I'm listening, because I will listen to what people are saying and I will take that conversation where I want it to go. And, there is there is a naughty streak in me as well, which has always been there. And I have got in trouble before now with station managers and whatever on radio because,
Mhm.
um, well, we used to do this magazine style show on a radio station, commercial radio station where I started on a middle of the day. So it was a great slot. It was kind of prime time slot, middle of the day.
Yeah.
And it was different people every day of the week, different presenters every day of the week doing it. And I ended up with the Friday slot.
Yeah.
And I got so sick of it because because I was interviewing local people
Yeah.
who were so full of their own self-importance. And I'd just done an episode. Hopefully I won't get in trouble for saying this now, but I'd just done an episode with somebody who came on who said that they were a floral artiste,
Mhm.
pronounced like that, artiste.
Okay.
And I spoke to them about what they did, and I said, well, basically, you're a flower arranger, aren't you? And they went, no, I am not. I am a floral artiste. There's a big difference. I said, well, okay, explain the difference to me then, please, because as some uneducated fool, I don't understand. And she said, well, I take flowers and I cut them and then I arrange them. I said, so you're a flower arranger then, because that's what flower arrangers do. And she didn't like this particularly. So but I was writing comedy as well for the local comedy scene.
Yes.
And I said, okay, give me a shot at this. I'd like to do the Friday one differently from the rest of the week. So I would like us to make the guests up. So it'll be the same format. I'll play the straight person
Yeah.
doing the interviews, but I will get comedians in from the local circuit to play the guests.
Oh, wow. Okay. How did
And
that?
it was fun. Yeah, it was fun until we got chucked off air. But it was great, And because I love radio. And I'd love what I'm doing now with a lot of video as well, and video is the way to go. But I do like radio
Mhm.
and the fact that you can suspend belief just by
Yes.
sound effects and words and things like that. So yeah, we had people in that could juggle 6 filing cabinets while playing Spanish guitar. And we had a man on called Airskin Reboot who could, using surfing wax, could get inside a milk bottle. It was great.
Wow. Wait, what? How do you get inside a milk bottle?
You cover yourself in surfing wax. You obviously have to limber up for a good 20 minutes or so beforehand. Really stretch.
How
All
big
of
is the
those
bottle?
milk bottle size, normal milk bottle size, like
Ones
you
that get
used to have.
delivered by the milkman.
Yeah, just this sort of size, and then you'd squeeze inside, and of course that's entirely possible with like a little sound effect that makes your voice go from this to outside the milk bottle, and now I'm inside the milk bottle.
Oh, wow. You do impersonations.
What do I'm inside the milk bottle now? And then I can't breathe. I can't breathe inside the milk bottle. Help! Get me out! It was just like that.
Oh, wow. It was
Yeah.
just playing around with audio.
It's just playing around with audio in order to suspend belief.
Yes.
Do
you think
But
sorry, but no,
Yeah, go on.
go.
No, I've completely forgotten what I was going to say now. So you
I was going to say, what's your favorite voice to what's your favorite voice to play with?
Oh, I've only got one. It comes out my mouth. I mean, I don't have another voice.
I mean,
I used to do impressions when I was a kid, and my children are really great at impressions now. I'm really pleased. There's one of them he's off at acting school at the moment, and he's very good at impersonations.
Mm.
You need to spend a lot of time doing impersonations to stay really good at them, and I just don't have the time to do that now. But I used to enjoy them a lot. I used to be able to do. I used to be able to do a lot of different people. I can still do throwbacks to like my childhood and the growing up in the 1970s. I can still do like Zippy and George from Rainbow and things like that.
Zippy and George.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it depends how old your listeners are, but
they'll remember. They'll know.
Rainbow, which was a kids' TV program with Bungle and which was like a bear type character, and then it had these other two characters. One was he basically had a head like almost like a rugby ball.
Yeah.
With the eyes on the top and the zip for a mouth.
Okay.
And his name was Zippy, and he talked about like this. And then he had his friend George, who was a hippo, who was pink with like eyelashes, very questionable as to what gender.
Hey.
And George spoke a bit like this, and I would always put his hand over his mouth when he was speaking.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and you'd have like the interplay between the two of them was really good. Yeah. So it was always like,
I wonder what we're going to do today.
Oh, shut up, George. You know, it was it was brilliant. So
I'm gonna watch that.
Well, do go and watch it, but there's also if people want to Google it, there is also an adults version of it, because they did an episode where they did an adults version of it.
So what do I type into Google?
Adult version of a kids classic Rainbow,
So
or something like that. And it will come up, but it's quite rude.
Yeah, I should imagine, because it's the adult version of it. So you'd have to.
Well, they just had fun, you know. I mean, it would never happen today. It would be seen as completely un-PC and whatever. But you know, ultimately, these people must have been going out of their minds doing this stuff on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And you know, I think it's good to kind of release.
Yes.
When you're doing that sort of thing. I used to do a radio show when I very first started at 3:00 in the morning, which is the worst kind of time to do a radio show, and it's mainly for taxi drivers who are bored, aren't they? But for some reason they decided that we had to play sort of like 1920s to 1940s music. And off of record.
Yes.
So we had old vinyl. Some of it was 78s.
Yeah.
And this stuff, the songs back then were very, very short. They were only literally like a couple of minutes long. So you would literally set one up, put the needle on it, get it all right and everything, and the other one would just about be finishing. So it was like, you know, it was faster than when I used to like DJ in the 90s at clubs, in terms of having to set up. And some of this stuff was dreadful to listen to. Hang out your washing on the old line and everybody, you know, and it was all this sort of thing.
Everything was very different. Like, I think a lot of things now everyone gets offended very easily. People are too sensitive these days, you know. It's just a cartoon. There was a cartoon called The Moomins when I was younger.
Yeah, I love the Moomins.
And those little clanky ones. What are they called?
And the clangers.
The clangers.
Yeah.
And bingo. You know, all of those.
All of these things.
Peter Pan. I don't know, a lot of things in the past were different to how they are now. Yeah, people are way too sensitive. Way too sensitive. But Mr. Graham, I was going to call you Graham. Mr. Graham, we are over now. But thank you so much though today, because it's half an hour. It's half an hour.
Half an hour just goes like that.
But thank you.
Yeah, but it's all right because you can edit, and so you can take out most of me, which is fine.
Why would I take out most of you? No, I'm playing around with audio now. So I'm trying to just do, so it's because I had Keith Keller on and his was just audio. And I thought sometimes it's nice to just have it in just audio, you know? So when I cut things up, I try and put it through the system of cleaning out, because I live near a school. So you probably can hear the kids playing.
No, not at all. Well, I've lost half my hearing in one ear from years of, you know, playing far too loud in band practice. So it's fine. I cannot hear the kids at all. And actually, the way I always have my headphones is literally these are flat response headphones. So it doesn't pick up a lot of that sort of thing.
Yes. But it's interesting when you have it where it's just audio. So I want to basically shift it all so it's just audio and play around with it that way first, because yes, I had a podcast before, different, there was a host with me, so it was like, you know, both of us. But when it is just the audio aspect of things and they get to hear the guest, the comments that I receive, the emails that I receive are very, very different, because they don't know who the person is. They can't see the person's color, the person's gender. Yes, they can tell, but they normally warm up more. My listeners warm up more to audio, which is remarkable. So I'm going to.
Well, it's the magic of hiding people's faces, especially when they've got a face for radio like me. That makes an awful lot of sense. I would say the only exception you should have to that is obviously if you have a beautiful human being on, you should really do it as video.
Yes.
Right, because you know, people do want to look at beautiful human beings. If they're ugly, I mean, like me, then it's absolutely fine to hide the face. And actually, yes, people are much more likely to listen, because otherwise people are going to judge very quickly on looks and going to go, oh no, gosh, why would I listen to them? You know, look like they've just been dragged out of bed this morning.
I suppose. But it's nice to be able to give listeners an option of visual or audio. It's nice to give them the option. And it differs because my listeners are mainly from the ages of like 30 and above. So 30 to around 60, so it's that age. Not so much younger people. Maybe it's because of the types of people I interview or the types of guests that I have. Their expertise is slightly different. So creating one where it's audio and targeting younger people is something that I'm interested in doing, because I think there's a lot of university students who, you know, they're at university, they can sit and listen to a lecture for 2 hours. Why not listen to a podcast, right? You know, for half an hour or whatever it may be. But yeah, thank you though, Graham, for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I will send you the link, and my listeners, it's an honor to have you guys with us today. Thank you guys for listening to this episode with Mr. Graham himself. So thank you very much, guys. Ciao, ciao. Bye, guys.